All right, blessings and abundance to everybody under the sound of my voice. Thank you for lending me your ear and just hearing what I have to say. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you find something here likable, subscribable, and shareable. So I'm gonna jump right on into it. We're talking about manhood. All right, I did a video called Women Desiring Headship. Watch out. And I want to do more videos like that because what God drops in my spirit are things that just, warn our generation, that just allows our generation to see things beyond the surface, beneath the surface. I think that's what we need in this day and age. I'm a man that God has placed a cry out for the nations. He's placed a burden to see things that my generation specifically go through. And then what I'm saying? In my prayer time, I just pray for it. I just pray for it. And, I cry out for the nations as well. I pray for the nations. Sometimes God will give his people, just a certain burden, not in an evil way, but he knows that his people come to him in prayer. So in your prayer life, if God has a burden on you or any type of burden that you have, just release to him. Because I don't want to make it seem like God is just dropping burdens on people, but there is a heaviness that comes with certain issues and things that we're attached to in life. And we know God in his scripture says to come to him, all who are, heavy, all who need rest, who have burdens. He says that to yoke ourselves, meaning to attach ourselves to him, and his burden, which he does have a burden, a heaviness, a weight, but it's light. It's not as heavy as the world. It's not toxic like the world's heaviness. It's a heaviness that comes with substance, groundedness, you know what I'm saying? Power, that's the heaviness that comes with, the burden of the commitment and covenant of God. All right. We're talking about manhood. Again, I did that video because my heart cried out for women around me, women that I've seen, relationships, women getting themselves into relationships that are just birthing an oppression in their life. They're literally attaching themselves to oppression, and that burdens me, dude. So this video specifically is for the man because it's the same thing. My brothers, I see a lot of it around me. I see it and experience it in my life, and by the grace of God, he's picking me up and showing me these things. And so I'm just walking them out, trying to meet more discipline every single day to walk these things out, manifest these things in my life so I can be a living example, of what God is doing in a man, what God is doing in manhood, what God is doing in masculinity. All right. We must know that everything pertaining life, God has a plan and agenda for. All right. That's something that we should know as men. And if we call ourselves men of God, if we're trying to pursue being a man of God, know that everything that has to pertain to life, God has an agenda for. And our duty as men of God, being leaders, is to align our will, align ourselves with that agenda, and enforce that agenda upon the world, you know. And so right now, man, this is what I see spiritually about us men, is that we're lacking, man. We're lacking. There's areas in my life that I'm lacking at. And it's because of my distraction. All right. It's because of my distraction. It's because things came in my life and because of my undisciplined nature, that I was adapting, that I had adopted. I'm only saying that because, I'm walking in discipline now, more and more. But, I was distracted. And a man that's distracted from his purpose, is an ineffective man because he's letting something come from the outside, and take his focus away from his purpose, from his pursuits, from what God has placed inside of him. And so there, just like I said, there's a burden for you. There's a purpose for you. Let me say it like that. In your purpose lies a specific burden. There's something that you see in this world, something that you see wrong in your reality or in the realities of people around you, that it weighs on your heart. And so in your purpose, you have tools of efficiency tools of effectiveness, tools of power, tools of with solutions that is for that specific burden, for that specific thing that you see, you know? So what happens is the enemy doesn't want that. He don't want men of God. He don't want people aligning themselves with goodness. And he doesn't want men of God having power and aligning themselves with things that should be. So he's going to send distractions in your life and try to take your purpose, take you away from that specific purpose. And that has been evident in my life. You know, just let's be vulnerable. Let's be open. Okay. And so right now, what he's doing, what was going on in my life is through the grace of God, redemption. So there's redemption for you, brothers. But let me get on you let me get on us, because there's a lack in us. There's a lack in masculinity. There's a lack in manhood. You know, whenever you can look out and see women, rapping about, such and such. Oh, I'm finna put my, I'm saying, my coochie on you. Trying to keep it clean. I'm finna put my coochie on you, I'm saying, my coochie juice, and rapping about all that extra stuff. Like, you know what I'm talking about. I take the blame for that. Why? Why do I do that? Because talk to any of them, right? Talk to any of these women. What they're going to tell you? Well, y'all did it. Y'all did it. Y'all did it. Right? And so that may not be like a valid excuse, but it is an excuse, and it is a truth to it, because, you know what I mean? We plant the seeds in this planet, on this earth, in this society. We plant the seeds. And then when we see destruction around us, oh, bet your bottom dollar is from the seeds that we planted. Why do you think we have seed inside of us? We release it, right? And we come and they, they do what they do in their body. And they come and they give us a baby, a child. So there's babies. Let's talk spiritual. This is spiritual talk. There's babies, there's plants, there's trees, anything that comes from a seed. There's fruits that we have planted, from the seeds we planted, and it's grown in our face, and we don't like it. That's why a lot of times you got men who have children and start families, okay? And they don't like the seed that they plant, so they'll leave. So it's the same thing, follow me, it's spiritual, same thing spiritual. So we have to take ownership as men. I think that's a prerequisite, that should be a prerequisite for manhood, to take ownership of the things gone wrong in this society. And that's a bold thing to do. And a lot of us men are not willing to do that because it is a burden. It is a burden. But with God, man, we have power, we have strength. You know what I'm saying? I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me, and it's tatted on me. So, God will empower you to do that. And this is how you are going to walk in your masculine, manhood, man of Godhood. All right. So yes, there's a lack of us. Now, another lack that I see is you got women, bro. You got women who are taking the bare minimum from men because we're so scarce. Men of God, men of power, men of effectiveness is so scarce in this society that they're taking men with basic moral values who don't even meet the fulfillment of that. But they're taking men with a seemingly moral compass, and they're saying, oh, man, it is like they can breathe now. Oh, yeah, finally somebody who getting it right. But this is the bare minimum man that they're taking, and they worshiping like he God, because we lacking. And it hurts my heart. It hurts my heart because we're undisciplined. We exalt pleasure over purpose. We exalt pleasure over God. And it hurts my heart. And so I'm just repentant. I'm walking in a repentant heart, because that's what you've seen this in my life. I've seen this in my life. And it's by the grace of God, he's picked me up and shown me myself. Okay? So there's a perspective that as men of God, we must adopt to walk in our effectiveness. Okay? There's a prerequisite in thinking that we must adopt to walk in effectiveness. What I mean by effectiveness is there are problems around you that as a man, your manhood cries out to you and say, dang, I wish I had the solution to that. Some of us know we have the solution to that inside of us, right? But because of undisciplined nature, because of distraction, because of lust, our focus is taken off of that burden and it's placed on distractions. It's placed on things of temporal satisfaction, temporal pleasures that come and dissipate. And you know what happens is we begin to serve our inner yearning of our inner inclination for pleasure, and then we watch the real world around us melt away. Pornography destroys a man's masculinity because it traps you into serving your inner pleasures that literally are temporal, and a problem that is eternal, around you, that is real time, is occurring and growing and will begin to surround you. And that masculinity inside you, the heart of the masculine inside of you saying, I got that solution, but there's something stopping me from getting it, from being that solution, from using my effectiveness. There's something stopping me. It's because lust, that's what lust does. It takes your identity. It takes your heart. It takes your ability. It takes your strength, and it makes you into a breadcrumb. That's what the Bible says. You know what I'm saying? If you slave to lust, it turns you into like a breadcrumb. I call it a bowl of soup. If you see spiritually, I want you to adapt the spiritual eye. Adapt it in a spiritual eye, right? And look at somebody. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to have a spiritual eye. You look at certain people, to me, that they got a bowl of soup spirit that has no effectiveness. That's what I'm trying to paint. There's no effectiveness to it. But when you're a man of God and you adopt that prerequisite to become the man of God, you adopt the mindset that I believe is a prerequisite to being a man, of God. I'm walking that out now in my life. It's ownership, taking ownership. That's the mindset, taking ownership. Adopting that burden of the problems around you, not carrying the weight of everybody's issues on you. There's a difference. But knowing there is an effectiveness in you that your soul testifies to, your masculinity witnesses to yourself and it tells you, dang, I got solutions. Okay, cool, you do. But it's through God, you connecting with the Creator and Him downloading that power into you, and you becoming vigilant to receive that power because He's giving it to you. It's just now you got to have a vigilant eye. You got to have an eye to see it and to accept it and to receive it. So now you'll become an effective person for people around you, solutions, to problems around you. Okay? Now, you may not attach lust to your problems directly, but I want you to see this. Okay, lust literally takes your focus away from purpose, right? Then you attach to lust the things of lust, right? And then you make commitments in lust. Sometimes people make commitments in their identity because of lust and change their whole identity because of lust. Sometimes people make commitments in relationship with people because of lust. And so now your distraction is literally committed to something else other than your purpose. And it has taken your focus off of purpose. So the things of your purpose, the heaviness of your purpose becomes a burden that you are actually in war against, or you can actually become aggressive to and in opposition to, because your commitment has been attached because of lust to something that is literally taking you away from purpose. And it's intentionally doing that. It's there for a reason. Now, because of these commitments that you made through lust, out of lust, your, again, focus is not on purpose. The Bible literally says you cannot serve two masters. You're going to either love one and hate the other, love the other and hate the other. So what is your master? So because your focus is on this master that was produced through lust, now one of your purpose is now going to suffer. And again, I told you there's solutions in your purpose, right? There's tools of effectiveness and power in your purpose. But then your outer world is going to show, calamity in things that are screaming for solutions, even people who are knocking at your door for solutions, and you're not going to have it. Problems are going to be arising around you, and you're going to be so distracted because of this lust and the commitments and the problems that come with the commitments because of lust. You know what I'm trying to say? You're going to be ineffective, not being able to see a problem through, not being able to see solutions. especially problems in your own life that arises, right? Whether that's financially, whether that's, relationship problems, spiritual problems, problems within, emotional problems, things like that, right? When you take the ownership mindset, knowing that anything in your reality, you take responsibility for. If you have a seed of depression, if you have a remnant of depression inside of you, taking ownership of that, saying that somehow I planted that seed, or I allowed that in my garden, I allowed that in my reality. Taking that ownership, now solutions can spring up because you're seeing this thing from a real eye, and then you can align with goodness, align with the power of God to uproot these things out of your life. That is a man of God. And you'll be able to do this for yourself and other people around you. You become an efficient tool, a powerful force of masculinity, groundedness, power. I'm tasting it in my life. You know what I'm saying? More and more through the grace of God. So, the last thing I'm gonna say is, man, again, I'm gonna be a little bit vulnerable here. Is, if you know me, you know that I was engaged. I was engaged at one point, and I remember just, what I wanted from this young lady was submission, respect. I wanted her to just listen to me, right? Okay, I was a little younger than I was now too, and so, it was bothering me that, there was it just wasn't how I wanted it. So I would go to God in prayer. And I remember God telling me, I would tell him, like, yeah, God, she ain't doing this. She ain't doing that. I want her to, respond to me like this. I want her to respect me like this, submit to me. Why she not respecting me? Why she not spending time with me? Why she don't want to this and that? Because it got like that. Then he told me, he said, "It's the very things that you want from her, I want from you." I heard that in my spirit. The very things you want for her, I want from you. So that opened up my mind to say, oh, okay, I'm seeing this thing here. God wants things that we want. When it pertains to relationship and love, there's a desire in us for submission, for respect. We talk about men, for submission, for respect, for the woman to commune with us, and but that's what he wants out of us. And until we are that submission, in that submissive posture with God, we can't get the fulfillment out of, how we want it in our relationships until we like that with God. God says he will not be mocked. What you reap, you shall sow. No, what you sow, you shall so reap. Excuse me. So, this is the man of God thing. And so the takeaway from all of this, man, because I don't want to make it so long. Man, we gotta rise up. We gotta take responsibility for what's going on in society. First, take responsibility for what's going on in our reality. Align with God, who gives us strength and power, to dig up solutions from within and manifest them outwardly. You know what I mean? Okay. That's what we got to do. We got to take back our control, take back our power, because if not, there's families that are suffering from that. Women are suffering from that because we're the leaders. So if society doesn't see powerful men, if society doesn't see the order of God in men manifested through men, then families are suffering. Society is suffering from that. So it takes your yes, it takes your submission. Before the world can submit to you, it takes your submission to your purpose. And it takes your purpose to submit to the Creator, to align with the power, okay? And it takes for your yes and your discipline to say no to the distractions around you, because there is going to be distractions specifically sent to take you away from your specific purpose. And it wants you to be ineffective. It wants you to be unable. It wants you to be incapable. It wants you to be incompetent, impotent. It wants you to be, come on. So we got to arise above. And the only way I know is through prayer. Initially through prayer, and God, align with God through prayer. Men of God, pray. Men, pray. because there's something happening outside of ourselves that we must transcend ourselves. You know, we must transcend past ourselves to reach. It's almost like you got to go into, you know, the heavenly of heavenlies and come back down so you can be empowered to reach your people, to you know, to reach your people in your reality. It ain't such a spooky supernatural thing. It's real. It's real practical. So blessings abundance, brothers. We're going to have more videos like this. You know what I mean? Thank you for encouragement. Thank you for your support. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you find something likable, subscribable, shareable. This page is coming from small to just becoming bigger. It's going to become bigger. You know, so help me, help me, help me. Love y'all, man, for real.